How I Become a Christian Psychic Medium, Part 1. My name is Lucy and I go by Heavenly Connections, and you're going to have to forgive my voice today. So, I am a Christian Psychic Medium, and I am known for, you're going to travel with me today through these memories while I get ready for the day. In this series, I'm going to pretty much round up how this is possible. Hope you follow along. There will be many parts, and trust me, it's quite a story. Make sure and like, follow, share, all the good stuff. So, as I get ready for the day, let's talk about it. And technically, I just realized that it goes all the way back to the day I was born. Or conceived. I was a huge baby. And my mother's birth with me was very traumatic, dangerous, and there's a whole lot to it. But the bottom line is, I was really big. To be born in March, but I was 2.5 weeks late. Yeah, or the very beginning of April. I can't remember how it goes really, but 2.5 weeks late, and 9 pounds 8 ounces, 22.5 inches long, and 24 hours roughly of my mama swearing she wanted to have me natural. The doctor wanted to, further along, give her medicine, and she refused it until my daddy took over, because it got dangerous. Long story short, she ended up with a blood clot. Now, she was 28 when she had me, and she was 15 when she had her first child, my brother, and 16, almost 17, when she had my sister. So she desperately had a natural birth. So, fast forward, the blood clot almost took her life. And between 2 and 3 weeks after I went home from the hospital with my aunt, my mom was able to get out of the hospital. But she was bedridden. I was 11 months old before my mama could stand up, pick me up, all that jazz. So it was a community effort to take care of me. That's another story. So, when I was a little girl, we were on our way to preschool. Yes, I remember things that a 2-year-old should not remember, and I remember clearly, and my family will tell you that. If nothing else, I'll back that one up. But I was about 4 years old, and of course, over the years, my mother and I have talked about it, so, it's not like it's just my memory. But at 4 years old, I remember the day she finally went off on me because she had had enough, because I was fascinated with heaven. We were on our way to take me to preschool, and I went to a preschool at a church, and I've always been a Christian. Oh, I was just born one. I loved Sunday school, but there was something there. I was different. I was different from the word go. I had a hard time getting along with other children because, well, now I know. I was awake. I didn't understand the way other kids were. So my mama fought for that, because technically I was raised as an only child, right? I had this fascination with heaven, death, at 4 years old. And I do remember the day that my mama, and I remember exactly what road we were on. That's wild. But she, kind of went off on me and said, "That is enough. You are too young to be so worried about death." Now remember, I didn't lose anybody till I was a teenager. No one close to me. No one. My first loss, I was 14 years old. So she explained to me how much it upset her that, I was so young and worried about this. But I remember that it was just a fascination. Like, heaven? You know, where do we go? And when we leave this earth, what do we do? And all that jazz, you know? Where was Jesus? Where was God? Like, you name it. At 4 years old, I wanted to know. Now, also, it was nothing for me to be hit growing up. I have been a victim, survivor of all kinds of different domestic violence, family violence, different members of my family, my entire life. And that goes into the Chosen One series that you can find on my playlist. We're just sticking to how I'm a Christian and a psychic medium. When she went off on me, I thought, she told me how much it hurt her and how much it bothered her, so I just never said anything else. But I'm sure I did to my mama. And I guess it played out. Kind of drifted out of my mind, only because I wasn't supposed to be curious. I remember at night, other people didn't feel like I do. But I would open my eyes, and there would be shadow form people walking through my room. And it was always like that in the dark anyway. So I told my mom about it, and she said that everybody does that. That it's a trick of the eye. And it was completely normal. I thought that was weird. But hey, that's what I was told. Of course, went to church every Sunday, Sunday school. And I'll never forget, because I love Jesus. I love Jesus. And as a little girl, I just loved him, and I didn't know why. Not that much, not as a little girl. But I remember being fascinated by this picture on the way to Sunday school and looking at him like, that's not what he looks like. Forgot about that one. I just remember being in awe and like, I'm just confused at the picture. And I blocked it out for so long, but I remember it took me years, and I mean years, to not think about this one. This one really always tripped me out. We would drive past a graveyard, have the sadness, and I remember my cousins having this one graveyard we would pass, and my cousins would, they had this joke, and I remember one day, by myself with my mom, I said this joke as we passed it, and she was like, don't talk like that. I thought I was trying to be normal, because I never understood. I would drive past a graveyard and just stare at it. I always had people in my head that I'd never seen before. Dreams. I always had dreams. I actually dreamed about my grandmother's passing. But my entire elementary days, oh man, that was the worst, because I would get in trouble because I couldn't wake up in the morning to go to school. Of course, you know, we went to church, and I'd be in there, and I love Sunday school, but I have very few memories because I was always too much. I talked too much, I sang too much, I was too loud. I've just always been too much for a lot of people, even in elementary school. Again, remember, you need to watch the Chosen One series about really rough lives, like a lot of abuse, and I call it torture, especially for a child. I would go to bed at night, and it would take me hours because I would close my eyes, and right here, now knowing third eye, at the time I had no clue what was going on, right here, my brain felt like it was falling. It was, I don't know, one of the things that you put oil in a vehicle. Really big at the end and small at the other. And it was like the big end was here, and my brain would be falling. At the very end, I would see people walking past this tiny little hole. And of course, I can't explain the way that I really want to explain it, right? But this was wild. Make sure you like, share, follow, and stay around for part 2. And we'll finish the story of how a Christian is a psychic medium.